Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad. Love, Ruth, John, Mark, Pamela, Patricia, and Peter. 1968, Part 155. This first letter is from Pam at camp. June 29th, 1968. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry you haven't received my letters yet. I sent one to Patty, Peter, Holly, Dad, Mom, and Mark. I wish to express the fact that my deathless prose is definitely more of a compliment to my writing than an insult. Not that Super Daddy would ever even attempt to insult my, creative writing. No, I'm not sick yet, but the flu is going around camp, and a kid who sleeps next to me just got over it. The nurse says she expects everyone to get it before the session is over. This unit is really bad. We aren't even allowed to go outposting now because the kids don't know hardly anything. Their skills are terrible. Tell Peter he has to change the sheets in my room when he's done. Then maybe he won't think it's so fun. Thanks for writing, and please keep on writing. Love, Zorro, Pam. P.S. My counselors have just finished yelling at us about being lazy and behind in an unskilled group. I was pretty upset because I've been doing a lot of work. My unit leader just said she wanted to have a talk with me, and we did. She said that I was so much advanced over this group that she was sorry I would be set back. She's going to try and get me into the outpost unit overnight. They will hike 5 miles outpost all night and do some other stuff. She said if she knew there was such a gap in skills the first few days, she could have had me switch units. I think this will work better, and I feel a lot better. Love, Zorro, alias Turkey, alias Deathless Prose, Pam. And this next letter is from Ruth to Patricia at camp. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, June 30th, 1968. Dear Patty, Hi dear. Today was a hot day, and tonight is such a nice night to sleep out that Peter is out in the hammock. We hope that the rest of your week is as nice. Today the sun should have dried you out, and hope you had a good swim. We did. Peter went twice. Peter and Stevie Strawbridge had a great time going off the diving board. Mark survived the Order of the Arrow but was very cold. He got his safety merit badge today and hopes to be a Life Scout before he goes to New Mexico. Pamela asked us to send her more socks, chocolate bars, and funnies, but I am sending you today's funnies. Maybe Pamela will send you some or let you read them on the way home. I hope that you have enough socks and gum. It's good that you are having so much time with Mary Faulkner. We love you and will see you soon. We have enjoyed your lovely letters. Love, Mother. And the next letter is from Ruth to Pamela at camp. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, June 30th, 1968. Dear Pamela, Today was such a hot day that I hope you all get dried out. We all went swimming and hope you had a good swim also. I packed 3 pair of socks and in what you requested. Mark survived his Order of the Arrow but got very cold. We went to a very funny Jack Lemmon movie, The Odd Couple. Hilarious. Peter and Stevie Strawbridge have a great time going off the diving board. Chip Richmond invited Mark to visit him at his summer cottage. Mark got his safety merit badge today. He should get his life rank before he leaves for New Mexico. Peter can't find the little crab. Dad fixed the swing set. Peter slept in his own top bunk last night, and tonight he's out in the hammock. It's lovely out there, so for one night at least you'll have a nice night to sleep out. Hope the rest of the week is great. Good night. Love, Mother. P.S. If it's not too late when you get the comics, maybe you can mail one in a letter to Patty, or save them and let her read them on the way home. R. And the next letter is from Patty to home to her family. July 1st, 1968. Dear Mom, Dad, Mark, and Peter. Yesterday the whole camp had a water carnival. Our unit won 2nd place. This morning we had a polar bear swim. A polar bear swim is when you get up about 6:30 in the morning and go swimming for a half hour. After breakfast, our patrol made weather flags. The flag I made looked like this, white and blue. When we put them out to dry, when we put them out to dry, the blue paint peeled off. I am sending a small part of it. The flag, when flown means it will snow or rain. I just got back from swimming lessons. It has been sunny for the last few days, but it is thundering now. Our patrol is going to sleep on the beach, but I don't think we will. I got a letter from Elizabeth and sent her one. I got the mosquito netting. Mary Faulkner got her boots, but no mosquito netting. Love, Patty. P.S. It's really starting to pour. And this is a letter from Mark to Patty at camp. 20689, Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, July 1st, 1968. Dear Patty, how is Camp Hilaka, or whatever it is? Did it rain much? How did you sleep? How's the food? Nothing much is happening here. I think we are definitely going on that trip to Williamsburg, Virginia. I might go to Chip Richmond's cottage after Philmont. Yesterday I got safety merit badge, and today I got personal fitness. Tomorrow night I should be a life scout. Thursday and Friday we went through the Order of the Arrow. That was rough. I'll tell you about it Saturday when you get back. Mom and Dad said you looked like a little princess while you were waiting in line at camp. Well, goodbye for now. Keep up the good work, little princess. I'll see you Saturday. Love, Mark. And this next letter is from John to Patricia at camp. Meyer, Stevenson, Ray, attorneys at law, 2121 The Superior Building, Cleveland, Ohio. Dear Patty, we do hope you've been having good weather the last couple of days. Mark is getting his Life Scout Award at the Boy Scout Court of Honor this evening. I do hope that he can continue to get the Eagle rank. We think of you and Pam every day and hope you've been having fun. Have a good 4th of July. See you soon. Love, Dad. And the next letter is from John to Pam at camp. Meyer, Stevenson, Ray, attorneys at law, 2121 The Superior Building, Cleveland, Ohio, July 2nd, 1968. Dear Pam, we certainly enjoyed your letters and hope you're dried out now. The weatherman has not been too cooperative since you gals have been at camp. Tonight, Mark is going to receive his Life Scout rank at a court of honor. He has a good case of poison ivy from his Order of the Arrow ordeal last week. We think of you and Patty every day. Have a good 4th of July. See you soon. Love, Dad. And the next letter, now we're back to the letters from Ruth to her parents. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, September 22nd, 1968. Dear Mother and Dad, Hi. Thank you for the nice birthday card and also for the anniversary card. Of course, we were in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina then, so there was no reason or way for you to get it there. We received it when we got back. The trip was a wonderful one, but it seems like years ago. We spent 2 days at home, and I washed and ironed most of the time, and then we had a fine week at Lakeside, Ohio, and hated to return home for school. Two children in high school. But just after a couple days back, summer and vacation seemed long ago. Yes, we too have had beautiful weather, quite hot in the 80s. Mark says that he doesn't like it to be so beautiful when they have to go to school, but we always have a beautiful fall. We finally made the switch to St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Lakewood. The first Sunday, Mark was acolyte and had to light candelabra and carry the cross and lead the children to Sunday school. He'd had no training in St. Peter's, and we were holding our breath if he'd know where to lead them, the right door, etc., as it's a very complicated church. He did beautifully, and I almost cried when Patty and Peter fell in first behind him. To see little Peter follow his tall brother, leading all the children and carrying the cross. A lovely moment, proud of them. We also went to a clam bake at the beach for the St. Peter's Couples Club. Last night, for my birthday celebration, we went to the premiere. Opening night of the Lakewood Little Theater with Shar and Don McQuilkin. They had a lovely reception first and formal buffet, candlelit and dance at the Lakeshore Hotel. I have a new gold silk formal, sort of an oriental thing, lovely. Tomorrow, Shar and I are going to a tea in Cleveland Heights. We're on the committee for Composers Showcase Ball next spring. And Thursday we're going on the maternal health tour of beautiful homes. Aunt Helen Lacey is coming from Oberlin to go, and Shar McQuilkin is taking Don's mother, and we'll all go to a luncheon at the Westwood Country Club. We've already had PTA board meetings and several open house meetings this week. John had a 4-hour meeting today with the superintendent of schools and the public relations fellow to work on the levy, and John is speaking almost every night from now until the election. It's a big job, and he's doing so much. They're lucky to have him. Hope it passes. I soon start in the inner city and trying to get more volunteers to work with the colored children. I was sure I'd told you Mark was over 6 feet last spring. Patty is taking the viola. Take care of yourself. Love, Ruth. P.S. I took movies of Peter and Stevie Strawbridge playing football today in their big brother's old football uniforms. Last Sunday we were invited to Sandusky. They are opening a new wing of the hospital. There had been so many gifts in Aunt Helen Zook's name that they dedicated the new wing to her at the dedication ceremony. I'm sure I told you that she died in heart surgery. They gave her 2 new valves, but they didn't fit or work. After the reception and service, we went to John's folks for dinner. John's mother has had a whole new kitchen put in. New cupboards, stove, and refrigerator. John had asked his mother to look after our family while we go to Nassau, Bahamas in January, but she felt it too close to John's dad's retirement. He plans to work half-time after January, though. Mrs. Vogler said she'd cancel any plans in order to come here to look after the children. She had pneumonia last spring and was very ill. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, October 16, 1968. Dear Mother, Hi. Thank you very much for the nice little notes for my birthday. They arrived the day after my last letter to you. I meant to write immediately since I had forgotten to mention so many things that I'd wanted to. And suddenly here it is time for your birthday. We are so fortunate to have had such a gorgeous fall. Even yesterday, today, and tomorrow are all in the 80s. The trees have their gorgeous colors. The dogwood leaves are red and the park is so lovely. We just have to cherish these beautiful sunny days. One of the things that I forgot to mention, we ordered Aunt Lizzie's flowers before her birthday to be delivered on her birthday, sent a wire through the florist here and had paid the bill, when in late August, early September, I forgot when, we got a call that the florist here had received a letter from the florist in Minnedosa, that he had been unable to reach Auntie by phone or call, and thought she was away visiting relatives since he personally knew her. The florist asked if she should cancel the order, but John told her to send the flowers whenever he could deliver them, and we've not heard since. Since you were visiting her and she had a small party, he was certainly remiss, and it would have been so nice for the flowers to have been there for the occasion. You sounded as if you were getting off to another very busy start this fall, and I hope that you don't overdo it again. You remember last year when you did too many things and got too run down and ill at Christmas? John is so very busy with the school levy, speaking every night. It's such a big job. They're lucky to have him and to devote so much time to it. I've been trying to cut down and very glad John had made me say no to so many things before we left for the Bahamas. Things have a way of piling up anyway, and just the children's activities take a lot of time. Today I said no to the United Appeal Drive that we've done so often. Last week, no to the polio drive, no to being Pamela's Girl Scout cadet leader, but today I did get them a leader, a girl in her 20s, so I think we'll be good and likes camping. I've also got about 9 new volunteers for the inner city and go myself. It's rather depressing. Last week, Shar and I went on an artist studio tour. Also saw the leaded glass studio where they make the lovely church windows. Friday, we're going to a music coffee in preparation for the Cleveland Orchestra Sunday. Saturday, we're going to a wedding, John's law clerk and secretary. Then we're going to Oberlin homecoming football game and the homecoming dinner with the Duffs. Friday night, John takes all the children to the high school football game and Mark's Indian Guide campout all night. And Sunday, Peter's group is having a family picnic at the park. and then we're going to the yacht club for a roast beef dinner, and then to the orchestra concert opening night. And then John begins another series of meetings every night on the schools. Patty has started on her new viola and doing beautifully on her piano. Mark's violin teacher, who was with the Cleveland Symphony until his heart attack this summer, has asked Mark to play a solo in the music competition. I am so glad that both Mark and Patty missed beginning school early by 9 and 3 days, for I will have each home a year longer, and these few precious years fly by so quickly. Patty had almost 3 years of nursery school, but still enjoyed kindergarten and found it challenging. They begin reading here in kindergarten because so many have had nursery school. In the inner city, most of the children go to Head Start and are in school at 4. I wonder if you would do something for me. I realize that you paint many things for Chris to buy, but I feel that I should have them for my children and grandchildren. However, I don't want you to mail them, for they mess things up so in customs. So if you paint whatever you have time for, the little Indians and Eskimos, let me know what you have, and I'll send you the check to hold them, and then maybe someday you'll have an opportunity to bring them. I also would like the little hand-smocked dress that you sent Pearl Cochran for my grandchildren. I have Patty's here to send for Janet or Joan, but do want it back. Also the Ireland dresses. I still have the purse that we bought in the Bahamas that I never mailed. You had mentioned visiting Chris, and I thought you might get down. We had an architect out to see about remodeling the kitchen and adding a room over the garage. Don't know if we'll do it. I have so many other projects to catch up on around here. I've been so depressed about so many things. The presidential election of 1968, the Vietnam War, the inner city. We do wish Hubert Humphrey could make it. John likes his support for the United Nations, and his past record is so fine on social legislation. We are appalled at all of George Wallace's support. Patty, Pamela, and I saw Richard Nixon. Pam was very close. We also saw Pat Nixon. They were here at the Westgate shopping mall. Our Patty had 4 stitches in her chin. She fell at gym. I've also been so tired this fall since the children get up earlier. Mark and Pamela leave about 7:15 a.m. several mornings for their string ensemble practices, and Pamela goes for AFS, American Field Service, foreign students. I guess she would like to go abroad as a student. She's planning a bike tour of the East next summer. She's so resourceful. Mark stays after school for basketball practice. Mondays, Patty has Girl Scouts and Mark Boy Scouts. Tuesday, Patty has gym club. Pamela has cello at 4:30 in Lakewood. And Patty has piano lesson at 6:30 at Coke's. And we usually have PTA. Wednesday, Mark and Pamela go to Young Churchman at St. Peter's at 5:30, and Mark has violin from 8:30 to 9:30 on Thursday. Pamela will have Girl Scouts, we hope, and usually then go to football games Friday night. And Peter has kickball games going on continuously on the front lawn with Stevie and sundry friends. He's a love. Good night. God bless, and do try to go easy on yourself. Take care. Happy October 24th. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, November 19th, 1968. Dear Mother, I have been thinking about you a lot this fall. The time seems to have flown by so quickly. It is certainly too bad that you and Dad didn't come east last summer and visit us when he was free. We've had such a beautiful autumn and are getting our first snow, but I don't expect it will last, since it is clinging to the trees and many of them still have their leaves. It has been a very depressing time for me. I have tried to cut down on my activities and stay home and try to catch up on all the myriad things that have piled up. Then, too, John was chairman of the Citizens Committee for our school levy, which failed, unfortunately. We had an opposition group that mailed out a letter the day before the election with much misinformation, and there were many phone calls. We have a 40% Catholic population and also a group of retired people opposing an increase of taxes. I do hope that you are taking care of yourself. We're going to Carol's next week for Thanksgiving and then such a few weeks until Christmas. It seems hard to believe. John has our airplane reservations for Nassau, Bahamas for January 14th so that will be just a matter of weeks. John asked his mother to come and look after the children while we are away at Paradise Island in Nassau, but she felt it was too close to John's dad retiring at the end of January. He'll then work on his own. So Mrs. Vogler plans to come. Then we'll go down again in March with Patty and Peter and hope you can come then. Mark and Pamela will fly down later. John will charter an airplane for them. Since they're in high school, they'll only come for a couple of weeks over their Easter vacation. I probably mentioned that Mark is president of his church group, the St. Peter's Episcopal Young People. They are working in Torch, a program to work with inner-city Negro youth. This Saturday, 150 of the young people are meeting at St. Peter's after Torch for a dinner and dance, and I have to help prepare dinner all afternoon for 150 kids. For Halloween, I took a box of apples from our kindergarten children to the ones at the school in the Huff area where I volunteer. I went dressed as a black cat and made a jack-o'-lantern out of a pumpkin for them with their help. Tomorrow, one of my neighbors is having a coffee for 2 new neighbors that we have, so I guess I'd better get to bed. I'm enclosing a money order for $50 for the China painting, but do not send any. Maybe sometime you can bring some. I had a bad car accident about a month ago. About $800 damage to our car and $350 to the one I hit. It had been raining and the lady in front of me stopped on yellow, and when I put on the brakes, the car skidded into her. She said she planned to go through but changed her mind. I thought she was going through. Patty was with me, but we were not hurt. No one was. So I haven't been driving either. I expect you miss it. Do take care. God bless. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, December 8th, 1968. Dear Mother, we certainly do hope that you have a very Merry Christmas with Bud and Doris and your grandchildren. I do hope that you cut out a few things so that you can enjoy Christmas. It sounds as if you are doing too many things as you did last year and then got bronchitis, remember? There is a real flu epidemic here, 192 out of high school. The Hong Kong flu and other varieties, I guess. Mark has been home a couple of days and their Christmas music program is tomorrow. John's dad just called that they won't be able to come because he is getting over another cold. He had the flu and a bad cough before Thanksgiving and John's mother was quite concerned. I had a violent case of the flu also before Thanksgiving, the day I was supposed to help fix sloppy joes for 150 teenagers at church. Mark and Pam went. Pam was painting a house for some unfortunate people who had their home vandalized, the torch program of our church. She painted in her good coat and got paint on it, and when they were ready to come home, Mark's new coat was gone. It was a joint program with the inner city youth, so we had to buy Mark another coat. The flu I had at the time began with pains in my shoulder and neck, and then a violent headache and nausea for about 24 hours, violent. Then it left me very weak. John's dad had a bad cough. We had a fine Thanksgiving at Carol's. She had 19 relatives and a 30-pound turkey she cooked. She really had everything perfect and she works full-time. Dick and Joan and their family drove from Chicago and Barb and Bill Smith brought Helen from Oberlin. The same family group each year. A big job for Carol. Peter was home for a couple of days with a cold, and then I got a bad sore throat for several days, and then a bad cough. Thought I had pneumonia. Mark also got the cough and is on penicillin. There were 192 students out of the high school. Patty was home a couple of days, but Pamela has held out. And she does so much, so many activities and parties. She's really a go-girl. John has been very busy and managed to keep going, although he's been very tired and weak. It just doesn't seem like Christmas. I haven't managed to do many things at all. Even Mrs. Friedrich is sick, so no house cleaning. We got a catalog from Regina. John had them send it airmail, special delivery, so we ordered something for you in Regina so that you could return it for something else if you'd prefer. I had the parcel ready with the children's things for you and wanted to get more for you, but just too tired to shop. I had lots of ideas, but not sure what you could use. I also missed Dad's birthday. I kept thinking I'd get better. John would have if I'd asked, and then I didn't have his Calgary address and didn't know he was home then. We got Mark a new $200 electric typewriter for his schoolwork. John's folks couldn't come over for the high school Christmas concert because of John's dad's cough. Hope they can make it Christmas Eve. Hope that we are all better and some semblance of readiness by then. Saturday I had my hair done and we went to a lovely dinner at our neighbors, the Bakers, cocktail party and dinner for about 70 folks. It was really a lovely affair. A week ago I went into the inner city where I volunteer each week, took ornaments with their names on for the kindergarten children and candy canes. I had a bad cough and there were 18 student speech therapists observing, and also the 2 heads of the volunteers, directors. They asked me to be on the advisory board. I have gotten 17 new volunteers for them. Nan Gregory and her mother flew out to California. Nan's sister is ill again. Mrs. Vogler is still planning to come in January. She phoned that she's bringing some Christmas cookies. I managed to get the parcel to Bud's family away and got Doris an oval tablecloth this year. Last year I didn't know their table was oval. Hope this one is big enough. This flu epidemic is so bad here that I can't urge you strongly enough to cut down on your activities and stay out of crowds, because if you get this cough, it will be very hard on you. John ordered Dad the National Geographic. Didn't know if he gets it or not, but knew he likes it. We certainly do hope that you have a fine Christmas and New Year. Love, John, Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. And the next letter is from John to Ruth's parents. Myers, Stevens, and Ray, attorneys at law, 2121 The Superior Building, Cleveland, Ohio. December 30th, 1968. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smallshaw, we hope that you have all been enjoying the holiday season. Unfortunately, we have all had the flu at one time or another during the past several weeks. Pamela was the last one to get it, but has been the sickest. The rest of us seem to be fairly well over it. Thanks for your offer, Mrs. Smallshaw, to stay with our children January 14th to the 19th while Red and I are in Nassau, Bahamas. However, we have made arrangements to have Mrs. Vogler come, and I hope this will work out all right. On March 19th, Red, Patty, Peter, and I are leaving for Cistern Key again in the Bahamas. Mark and Pam are coming down March 28th. We are all returning together to Cleveland on April 14th. We would like to invite both of you to be with us at Cistern Key from March 28th to April 14th. If you could arrange it, we would appreciate it if you could come to Cleveland and stay in Cleveland March 19th to March 28th with Mark and Pam. Then you could come down to Cistern Key with Mark and Pam on March 28th. We will be happy to pay round-trip expenses for both of you from Regina. Please let us hear from you as soon as possible because airspace is very tight. Good luck. Love, John. Now there's 2 short postcards from Peter. First one is to Pam. Dear Pam, I can go off the low diving board. Today I am going off the high diving board. Love, Peter. And this next letter is from Peter to Patty. Dear Patty, I can go off the low diving board today. I am going off the high diving board. Also, love, Peter. Now we have one letter to the editor based on the original publication, and it's from my father, John S. Ray. Dear Editor, SFMC number 72. What a lovely collection of pictures on the cover. Thank you. Pamela continues her antics and signs her letters Zorro. All kinds of rain and mosquitoes for Pam and Patty at camp. From camp, Pam writes, Tell Peter he has to change the sheets in my room when he's done. Then maybe he won't think it's so fun. In 1968, we switched to St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Lakewood. The first Sunday, Mark was acolyte. He did beautifully, and Ruth about cried when Patty and Peter fell in behind him, to see little Peter follow his tall brother leading the children and carrying the cross. A lovely moment, proud of them. John was chairman of the Citizens Committee for the school levy, which failed, a real bummer. Everyone had the flu, but we managed to survive. Our activity level is undiminished. A good issue, Mr. Editor. Thank you. Love, Dad. John S. Ray, Cleveland, Ohio. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.